Do you feel lost when it comes to nutrition, counting macros, and the endless information there is out there about optimizing your energy and getting into the best shape that you want to be in? Jenny, the nutritionist, has designed the nutrition program for ladies who lift weights and want to build muscle and decrease body fat. Vaguely eating less and working out more is not how you create an above average shape. Building a badass shape requires a strategy where your nutrition is aligned with your training and your plan is fine-tuned. Create Your Shape is Jenny's 4-month nutrition coaching program where she'll help you change your body composition. You'll be taught the science of nutrition and you'll be able to create a nutrition routine that runs on autopilot. I have learned so much from her and she truly is the best at what she does. For Mindset Mile listeners, she's offering 10% off her 4-month nutrition program with the code MILE10. Check her out on Instagram at Jenny the Nutritionist and go to jennythenutritionist.com/create-your-shape to learn more and join the Create Your Shape ladies. Welcome to the Mindset Mile podcast, the show that'll leave you empowered to take action towards becoming the turned up version of your already awesome self. I'm your host, Aisha Zaza, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of the Mindset Mile podcast. Listen, I'm going to start a new little mini segment to add to each episode of the podcast going forward called Ask Aisha. So I want to explain what this is, and then I want to invite you to ask me something. So I'm going to start answering one questions from my followers and from my listeners at the beginning of each episode. This isn't going to be super long. It's literally just anything that you want to ask me about. It can be a personal question or any type of mindset, lifestyle advice you would like me to answer. Have fun with it. It doesn't need to be personal development related. I just thought it would be a really fun way to open each episode and for you to get a chance to know me and for the chance to ask me something that I'm exclusively sharing just on the podcast. So I thought of this because when I listen to podcasts or follow people on Instagram, I of course am interested in the content that they share, but sometimes I just am curious about that person and I want to know something about them that's completely unrelated to what they're always sharing. So if that is you too, then I want to invite you to ask away. And don't worry, I'm not going to share who asked what. This is going to be anonymous on the show. So feel free to send me your questions via DM on Instagram. And I'll also be adding a question sticker to my stories once every couple weeks for you to have the opportunity to ask there as well. Or you can also email me at Aisha, that's AISHA, at themindsetmile.com. And I'm just going to be keeping a running list of questions that people send, and I'll be addressing them one per week in the beginning of each episode going forward. So, okay, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have been watching my stories over the last week and saw that I was just in Hawaii for 6 days. I went to Maui, and it was part of a birthday trip / Mother's Day trip. But also it was a very serendipitous trip. We have some good friends from Tahoe who live in Maui now, and I stayed with them, and it was just such a wonderful break. But it was just crazy kind of how this trip came about, because not even 4 weeks before I left did I know I would be there, or did I have any plans to go to Maui. And I want to share with you just how this kind of came about, because it wasn't on my radar, and I was kind of in a place, a month ago where it felt like it would be impossible to take this type of trip. But one of my best friends from college was going to be there over this past week, like the 10th to the 16th of May. And she had mentioned it. She had thrown it out there saying I should come. And I was like, yeah, there's no way that I'm going to be able to go to Maui. Like, I have 2 kids. Who's going to watch the kids? I have work. I have all these things going on. Like, my husband is preparing for a huge test at work and he's been studying. And I was like, well, wait a second. Actually, this might work out kind of well to be out of the house, because the week that I was gone and that we were all out of the house, was the week right before his huge test that he needed all the time in the world to study for. So I was like, okay, let me think about this. I asked my friends in Maui if they had any guests. They said, nope, come on over. So once I got that cleared, I spoke to my family and I told them about my idea and if they would be open to having the kids for a few nights, which they were elated about and basically pushed me out of the door. And then I looked at flights out of San Jose, which is kind of near where my family lives up north in California. And the flights were only $230 round trip from San Jose. At that point, it was a no-brainer. I was like, babe, for Mother's Day, what I would love this year is just a flight to Maui because I've got a free place to stay. I could really use a break. And I did feel like it would be great for him to have that week before his big test for everyone to be out of the house so that he could use all of his free minutes while he wasn't working to prepare for his interview and test, which he agreed. So it kind of just all the stars aligned. And it's funny how the universe works like that, because that's not ever something that I would have proposed myself. It really was like this seed that was planted from my friend. You've probably heard me say this a million times. One of my strongest and favorite habits is making my bed every morning. I love starting my day getting something productive done. And I love the mental clarity I feel when I walk into a tidied room. And I love slipping into a made bed every night. I live for my Cozy Earth bed sheets. They are high quality and luxurious, from the way that they look to the way that they feel. If you're looking to do some spring cleaning around the house, or if you want to get mom the best gift for Mother's Day this year, look no further than Cozy Earth. They make everything from luxurious loungewear to incredibly soft bedding. And great news, Cozy Earth provided an exclusive offer for my listeners. You can get 35% off site-wide when you use the code MindsetMile. Enjoy! Did you know that stretching can help people with chronic pain issues they never thought would go away? Like pain in their lower back or feet where plantar fasciitis can happen? The problem is that stretching requires more time than just a few seconds or minutes, and ropes or bands won't pull your toes down and back the way a stretch therapist does for a more effective stretch up the entire leg. I've found the solution, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. I've been using the Flexx. It's a patented device that allows you to hold a grip-weighted aluminum bar with your foot in a specifically designed foot hammock that pulls your toes into complete dorsiflexion, which allows your entire leg and glutes to get stretched at the exact same time. It feels amazing. This device is like WD-40 for your achy bones and tight muscles, let me tell you. It has sold out 7 times since launching in 2021, and they don't do sales, but I got us a code for our community. So take advantage and get yourself one by going to castleflex.com. That's Castle, like C-A-S-T-L-E, and Flex with 2 X's, F-L-E-X-X, castleflex.com, and use code MILE10 for 10% off. Your body will thank you. And it is not beyond me that I am incredibly fortunate to have taken this trip. And while I was there, I couldn't help but feel like it just came at the perfect time, because this year, and honestly, since my son was born in December, has just really felt like a more trying few months than normal. Not just adjusting to life with 2, but also just some other stressors, as I mentioned, with my husband's work and needing to pour so much energy into studying for this huge test that he finally just took this past Tuesday. So we are so relieved that that is finally behind us, because it really was a household effort to make sure that all of his time that wasn't being spent working, sleeping, or being with the kids was freed up to study for this thing. So it's just been a kind of a challenging and draining season on all of us on multiple fronts. So this trip just felt very restorative for me personally. And I'm big on making self-care a priority, and not necessarily in the form of taking a week-long vacation, of course, but just in the day-to-day and the week-to-week. And it can look very simple. And you know this. you know that this is a part of my life. Just by watching me on Instagram, I really feel like I want to show how it can look to just work out for 30 minutes a day, or to take a 15-minute walk with your favorite podcast, or with no earbuds at all, or even just meditating for 5 minutes in the morning before you start your day. Because how are you supposed to fill other people's cups when yours is empty? I have a little bit of a problem with how we portray and or expect mothers and parents to live an entirely selfless life. Being a parent is inherently selfless. And I'm sure I speak for all parents when I say that my family is my world and I would do anything and everything for them. And I do. But I also know that when I pay all of my attention outward, I feel burnt out, exhausted, and overwhelmed when too much time goes unchecked for how I'm doing. And I know for many women, this leads to feelings of resentment. And that's really the last thing that you need to be feeling when your balancing act is so demanding and rigorous. So do I think it's selfish to need time for yourself and to be honest about it? No. I think being honest about it is actually where the biggest problem is. We usually know we need a break or a reset, but we feel guilty when we take it, or even have the feelings of wanting to take a break. We feel that everything and everyone else comes first. But guilt really is the killer of all good things. And sadly, most of the time, it is self-inflicted and completely unnecessary. It's doing you absolutely no good. And it's keeping you from being honest with yourself and the people closest to you when you keep your feelings bottled up and suppressed and feeling like you can just muscle and strong arm your way through all of the things in life. But most importantly, it's keeping you from being the best version of yourself. Climbing a mountain is hard enough, but filling your backpack with rocks of guilt, that's just completely unnecessary. So this is your permission to empty your backpack of those rocks. Self-care looks different for everyone, but I do want to encourage you to think about the things that truly make your mind and your soul restored, instead of the things that just might feel good in the moment. I kind of loathe how we are marketed self-care. We're made to feel like there's always something that we need in order to achieve it through some type of product or service. There's always going to be a company or someone out there that makes you believe that you are missing that specific something and that they are there to fill the solution to that something. Now, I'm not anti-buying things or services, but when I think about things that really make me feel restored, they aren't things. A few things that make me feel restored are feeling good in my body by feeding it well. And in that way, I feel like making nutritious food can be a form of self-care. It's when I'm generating energy through exercise, and preferably outside. So in that way, I always feel so much better when I go for a run or take a hike. Nature and fresh air are really the best solution to a busy mind. For me, self-care is getting to read a book and not feeling like I need to be doing something else more important. Because yes, there will always be things that feel more important. But if reading a book is your jam and makes you feel restored after a long day, then that is important. I don't know what self-care looks like for you, and it doesn't need to look like what it does for me. But I just wanted to share a few examples to get your mind thinking about the little things that truly bring you joy. It's okay to want to do them, and it's okay to need to do them. You do a lot, and the rat race will constantly make you feel like you need to be doing more. You don't. Take care of you. There's only one of you, and a million people and a million things that want or need a piece of you every single day. I know that life is busy and feels impossible to step away sometimes, but that's where the small daily things you can do to fill your cup are a huge win. Make those a priority so that you can show up as your best self, and your life, your happiness, your attitude, and your perspective will change. I promise you. But you are worth it and you deserve it. If you loved this episode, I want to know about it. Please tag me on Instagram at Aisha Zaza. Send this to a friend or someone that you know who just needs permission to feel okay taking a break and to feel okay needing a break. I cannot wait to see you next week. And until then, make it a great day.